Welcome back. This explainer is brought to you by Forge College. Today, we're jumping right into designing flexible upgrade management paths for dynamic proxies. This is a crucial lesson in our dynamic proxy and upgradability approaches module, which sits right inside the Advanced Solidity Project's composability section of your Solidity and Ethereum quests. If you've been following along, you already know that building upgradable systems in Web3 is, well, kind of like performing open-heart surgery on a marathon runner while they're actually running the race, and ideally without them even noticing. So let's grab our scalpels and figure out how to manage these upgrades safely.
To set the stage, let's think back to our previous lesson, implementing and verifying mitigations. We did a ton of heavy lifting there to fix storage collisions. We laid down this beautiful, perfectly wired proxy scaffold. But now we're staring down the terrifying prospect of actually swapping out a live smart contract's logic, literally replacing its brain without completely wiping its memory or state. It is a super delicate operation, but if we map out the right mechanical path, it's absolutely 100% achievable.
Here's our architectural schematic for today's explainer. We'll start with the upgrade challenge, break down the 3 mechanical pillars of safe upgrades, walk through some real-world workflows, do a little AI-assisted vibe coding, and then hit the wrap-up and next steps. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. The Upgrade Challenge, from storage to operations.
So think about this scenario. You've got a perfectly stable proxy. You and your team have agreed on a rock-solid storage layout. Everything is running pristinely in your local dev environment. But what happens if you let a guy named Dave, using a single owner key he keeps on a sticky note under his keyboard, just trigger an implementation swap in production? Yeah, no way. You are practically begging for catastrophic state corruption or a devastating hack. The real challenge we're facing here isn't just can we upgrade the contract, but exactly how we upgrade it and who actually holds the power to execute that upgrade safely.
Which brings us to Section 2, the 3 mechanical pillars: authority, execution, and continuity. I want you to think of this whole proxy upgrade process like a highly coordinated, high-stakes vault heist in a movie. You've basically got 3 non-negotiable pillars to make it work. First, authority. That's the boss. Who's actually giving the green light? Second, the execution path. That's your mechanical swap hook, or the exact infiltration route your team takes into the vault. And third, state continuity, which is protecting your persistent data, or in heist terms, getting all the loot out completely intact without dropping a single coin.
Let's break down that first pillar, authority. This is entirely about access control. What we're doing here is trading the thrill and immediacy of a quick one-click swap for rigorous checks and bulletproof auditability. Now, the proxy itself, it doesn't actually care what your governance model is. It's totally agnostic. It just needs a secure hook. It's entirely up to us as the engineers to explicitly define if the caller is a single owner, a multisig wallet, or a timelock contract.
And to put that into perspective, different authority models mechanically impact your proxy in very distinct ways. Look at a single owner setup. It uses a direct setter. Sure, that's a beautifully small code surface, but it requires a terrifyingly high amount of trust. It's the Dave with a sticky note situation. Then you have a multisig, which requires multiple confirmations. It adds some friction, sure, but massively boosts your security. Stepping up from there, a timelock introduces a predictable delay. This is great because it allows your community to actually see and observe a pending upgrade before it goes live. And finally, you could use a full governance module where upgrades are entirely subject to token voting. Basically, you get to dial in the friction based exactly on your protocol security needs.
All right, moving on to the second pillar, the execution path. This is our vault infiltration route. Mechanically, we need a dedicated admin contract or a highly protected function sitting on the proxy that precisely updates the implementation pointer. Usually, we're talking about an EIP 1967 style slot. You want to keep this write access absolutely minimized and highly visible. It's all about cleanly separating who proposes the upgrade from the mechanical code that actually writes it to the slot.
And now, we arrive at the trickiest part of the entire trio: state continuity. Listen, if you're swapping out your logic, your new implementation must, at the bare minimum, access the exact same storage slots the old one used. That's non-negotiable. But what if you have to add new fields or repurpose old ones? Well, that means any layout changes absolutely must be handled by explicit, highly deterministic migration code. And here's the kicker. This code has to operate directly on the proxy storage using a delegate call. If it doesn't, you're not actually migrating your state.
Let's jump to Section 3, Real-World Upgrade Workflows, the mission briefing.
So what does this actually look like in a live production environment?
A safe upgrade is never just some impulsive transaction you send before grabbing lunch. It is a precise 5-phase operation. Step 1, you propose a candidate contract along with a full compatibility report. Step 2, you schedule it via your timelock. Step 3, once the timelock expires, your authorized executor triggers the implementation swap. Step 4, and this is critical, it happens in the exact same transaction, you trigger your migration function via a delegate call. And finally, Step 5, you run automated smoke tests to verify that all your core invariants are still intact.
I really want to emphasize this because it's the fatal flaw that takes down so many projects. The most common failure mode in Web3 operations happens when a new implementation adds, say, a new mapping and mistakenly presumes a storage slot is unoccupied. Without explicit migration logic, that new data might silently overlap existing variables. It's a nightmare. It completely corrupts your state. The only way you prevent this is by forcing that strict delegate call-based migration step we just talked about, ensuring you're manipulating the proxy storage directly where the actual values live.
Moving on to Section 4, AI-assisted vibe coding, prompting the blueprint.
Now let's talk about using AI as our junior engineer to rapidly prototype this upgrade plan. We can break this AI interaction down into 3 very specific vibe coding cycles. First up is the generate cycle, where we just ask the LLM for a raw checklist-style upgrade plan. Second is the refine cycle, where we get specific and feed the AI our proxy's exact storage layout and our admin model to really tailor the output. And third, the validate cycle. This is where we prompt the AI to generate the actual hard hat or Foundry unit test scaffolding so we can definitively prove our migration works.
To actually get good, usable results from your AI, you've got to start with a highly constrained prompt, something like what you see here. You want to explicitly feed the AI your precise storage layout. For instance, tell it, hey, the owner address is at slot 0, total supply is at slot 1. Then tell it your admin model, like a 2-hour time lock. You have to tell it exactly what to output, a 1-page plan covering authority roles, preconditions, execution steps, and validation. If you leave it open-ended, you're going to get a mess.
Once you have that raw plan, you need to refine it. And here's a massive pro tip for mechanical safety. Explicitly prompt your AI to generate a Solidity interface that verifies the new implementation's compatibility fingerprint. You basically want a code snippet that the proxy can call directly via delegate call. Maybe a function that returns a specific hard-coded bytes 32 value. Why? Because this guarantees that the upgrade transaction will structurally revert if the new implementation isn't a perfect mathematical match for your proxy. It's a brilliant safety net.
All right, let's bring it all home in Section 5, Wrap Up and Next Steps, Preparing for Testing.
Let's summarize our engineering schematic for today. Principle 1. Keep your write paths for implementation swaps incredibly tight and auditable. Principle 2. Always, and I mean always, force your storage migrations through a delegate call so it's manipulating the proxy directly. And Principle 3. Take every single operational phase we just discussed and turn it into a deterministic automated test case. If you can't test it, you shouldn't be executing it. Now, before we wrap, I'm going to leave you with a somewhat dangerous thought to chew on ahead of our next lesson, which is assessing upgrade management impact and preparing for testing. Ask yourself, if you just run a migration on the new implementation contract directly, rather than routing it through the proxy, whose storage are you actually modifying? Well, you're essentially just organizing the furniture in an empty, abandoned house, while the actual residents are living in total chaos right next door.
And that's a wrap. Thanks so much for joining this Forge College Explainer. I really hope this structured look at upgrade blueprints has given you the confidence to start tackling dynamic proxies out in the wild. Make sure to head over to forge.college to dive deeper into this subject. Get your hands dirty with the actual code and conquer the rest of your Web3 quests. Until next time, happy coding!